So TOEFL test is a simulation test, or you can call it a task-based test. Task-based. They would like to see if you are capable of accomplishing these tasks in English. And what are the tasks? For example, if you're going to the universities in the US, you are expected to sitting in a lecture listening to your professor for 2 hours at least, right? And during these 2 hours, what do you have to do? First, you have to understand the lecture. You have to understand what the professor is talking about. Second, you have to be able to take notes so that you can review after class, right? And then after that, after the class, you have to be able to synthesize what you heard in the class and what you read from the textbooks. So these are the simple tasks that every university student is required at a university, right? And what about outside the classroom? Outside the classroom. Hold on, I haven't finished yet. In the class, if it is a big lecture hall, of course, there's probably not much discussion involved. But if it is a smaller seminar class, where there are probably only 20 or 30 students, most likely your professors might group the class divide the class into several small groups, and there might be some discussions. So will you be able to carry out the discussions with your classmates based on the lectures, based on what you read in the books? Can you do that? This is another task, right? Or what about someone sitting next to you, and maybe this person is American, maybe this person is an international student just like you, and they would like to strike out a conversation. They ask you that, where are you from, and then why do you want to come to the US to study? Will you be able to carry out a conversation? That's another task, right? And then after class, well, before the semester begins, probably you have to find a place to register classes, or most likely you can do it. You can have everything done online, but you have to be able to read, right? You have to be able to read all the instructions. And then if the instructions are not clear enough, and you would like someone to clarify the instructions for you, so you want to go to a registrar, 注册组, right? And then the administrators at the registrar probably will give you some guidelines, give you some instructions, give you some suggestions how to take classes, for example. Or if there is some time conflict, schedule conflict, for example, you really like to take these 2 classes. Unfortunately, these 2 classes are scheduled at the same time. But these 2 classes are all required. So there is a schedule conflict. So how do you solve this problem? That's another task that you have to accomplish as a university student in the USA, right? And then another example is you go to the library, you can't find your book, you need some help, right? So you go to talk to a librarian, and this librarian will point you or throw you a rope so that you can find a book. That's another example. And what if you want to complain about the housing service offered by the university? For example, the wallpaper is peeling off. That's another example. Or you participate, you take part in, or maybe you buy some meal plans so that you can have your 3 meals at a student cafeteria. Student cafeteria 就是学生的自助餐，可是自助餐跟我们台湾这种不像。不要把它想象成我们台湾那样子的自助餐。一般的大学的那个 student cafeteria， what they do is 你可以买 meal plans。meal plans 就是说，譬如说你可以一天吃1餐，或者是你可以一天吃2餐，或者是你就是一个 you buy tickets，and then actually there are many student cafeterias available on campus。然后有一些是它就是一个 food court。Do you know food court? Do you know what food court is? 就有点像那个百货公司里面这样子，有一摊一摊一摊这样子，叫做 food court， 因为它是一个 court. Okay, you can try different ethnic foods. 有 Chinese food, Japanese food 这样子，在美国也是一样，像在我们学校就是，那你可以去那个 food court， 然后你就是 you buy meals by using a ticket, okay? So if you are having troubles with the food provided by the student cafeteria and you would like to complain or you would like to consult someone's opinions about what to eat or what not to eat, and then where do you go to? Things like this, etc. 那他们只是要看你说你的英文是不是够 sufficient, fluent enough to accomplish all these tasks. So it makes sense, right? It makes sense, right? 这个 test is well designed. 不是就是说你只是会读啊，像那种旧的那个 paper test。就只是 a lot of grammar questions, a lot of reading questions. So basically, they're only testing your language ability. It's language. They want to know how much you know about this language instead of how much you can use this language. It's different.